Here we are, my favorite restaurant, Grand Lux. It's about to go down. So here we are on a beautiful day. Sun's not shining, but it's still a beautiful day temperature-wise. What I'm going to teach you today is what business value means to you and to your future. And I'm going to go into something I call my Business Value Quotient today, which is going to break down 10 different areas that you want to measure in order to know what your true business value quotient is. But first, I gotta feed myself. Oh man, this looks so good. This is gonna be one of my favorite videos just for the food.
How everything come out, sir?
It is very good, thank you. Yes, it is very good. So, as I was saying, we start our businesses with a lot of dreams, a lot of hopes, a lot of aspirations. Sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. But if you are going to start a business, I'm going to share with you 10 things that you want to keep in mind, because these 10 metrics will decide whether or not you actually have a business or you own your job. So when you're thinking about starting a business, or if you're even in the early stages of the business, it's really never too late to course correct. So, like I said, I'm going to share with you 10 things that you want to keep in mind, 10 metrics you want to measure to see whether the value of your business is actually where you want it to be or not. So, what I'm going to do right now is break down the 10 different metrics of my business value quotient. Number one, when you're starting a business, you want to keep in mind the mission. Now, when I say mission, I'm not talking about the stuff that you front on your website where you talk about all the noble things that you want to do. No. This is your personal mission. For instance, what are your goals for this business? Is it something you want to keep for the rest of your life? Is it something that you want to keep small because you want to run it yourself? Some people just want a one-man operation for the rest of their lives. Some people want a team. They want to employ a bunch of people. They want to help other people to feed their families. So they got big goals of growing that business. Also, who's your ideal client avatar? Who are you serving? What is their burning problem? Where do they live? What kind of business structure do you want? Are you going to start with a DBA in the beginning and then convert to a LLC, or do you want a LLC? Will you convert to a S Corp, a C Corp? What are the different phases of your business that you're going to do those things in? You want to begin with the end in mind, and most of all, if you want to exit the business, even if you don't, set it up so that you can exit it on your own terms, the quickest amount of time, at the best dollar figure for you. Because there's nothing like wanting or even needing to sell your business and you can't because it's just not sellable. But if you do these 10 things, your business will be sellable, you'll have true business freedom, and you'll be able to write your ticket on your own terms. Second thing you need to have when you want to talk about your business value, that would be documentation. Now, I'm not getting to the financials yet. What I'm talking about here is processes and procedures. Do you have everything documented? If there are things that need to be done on a regular monthly business, things that need to be paid. How do they get paid? What accounts do they get paid from? If there's a sales process, is that documented? If there's a team and there are various responsibilities, are you just talking about it to people, or are you actually laying out what each person's role is, so that if that person exits the business, you can bring someone else in and they'll be able to pick up where they left off? But there's nothing worse than having your business held hostage by someone who fills a seriously important role, but they're the only ones who know what they're doing, when they're doing it, or how they're doing it. So a buyer will not want to buy a business that is held hostage to one or two individuals. So document your procedures and your processes, and then that'll make it easier to continue things after a certain person leaves. Number 3, let's talk about supplier diversity. This may not be something that you're thinking about. However, if you look at things as they've turned out recently with the world and the global economy, supplier diversity is important. And you may not think of supplier diversity in one important area, and that is processing payments. Do you have a variety of different platforms that you can receive payments on? If Stripe were to shut down, do you have other means of processing payments? Do you have Cash App? Do you have Venmo? Do you have your bank? For me, I have PayPal. I have my bank. I have Stripe. I have a variety of different ways I can process payments. There's nothing like your payment processor saying to you, we are shutting you down for any particular reason, or they're holding your money for 90 days, which has happened to people in the past. So make sure you have redundancy and a variety of different ways you can get your money. You also want to think about your social platforms, like if somebody hijacked your Facebook account, if somebody hijacked your Instagram account, or if Meta decided they just don't like you anymore and they want to shut you down, do you have other ways of reaching your prospects, your audience, your people, your tribe? Vendors, who's supplying you? Is it just one person in a far-off distant country? And if something were to kick off globally, like a trade war by a certain person, or some other natural disaster or something like that, do you have options to get what you need from another supplier? Have supplier diversity. Number 4, a thing that's really appealing to a potential buyer would be recurring revenue. Now, what does that mean? That means that that purchaser can count on a specific amount of money coming into the business consistently every month. You don't want to be in a position where you have one big client, and that client, if they were to leave you, you're dead, you're done. People who rely on the federal government have found themselves in that position when the government shut down. All of a sudden, their main vendor wasn't making payments. They were not even open for business. So you don't want to have, in a best case scenario, more than 20% of your business, your revenue, coming from any one person. You need to spread that out. Make sure that you have a broad base of people who are buying your product or service, so that you're not held hostage to any one person who could then maybe, without good motives, play stick-up kid and negotiate harmful terms for you simply because they know if you lost them, you're done. Number 5, repeatable sales process. Sales is the lifeblood of any business. So if you are building a sales team, which you will need to do, because you can't have sales be dependent on you as the business owner, because nobody's going to want to buy that. When you go, the sales go. So you need to have a team, a sales team, that will eventually you will bring on. Of course, you're going to do the sales in the beginning like everybody does, like I do. However, at a certain point, when you want to make this business a real business and sellable, you're going to need to train a sales team. So you need to get good at your sales process. In other words, What are your outreach methods that you can document for getting people? How do you bring them into your pipeline? What is the funnel system you use to nurture them along in the sales process? Also, how many outreaches do you have to do in order to get a prospect? When you have a prospect, how many times do you have to go knocking on their door to get an appointment? And then how many appointments do you have to close a sale? That's your close ratio. These are all things you need to know because they're going to help you as you ramp up and grow your business. And a prospective buyer is going to want to know all of that stuff as well. Number 6, what is your special sauce? Like, are you just like everybody else out there? Why would somebody need to actually do business with you? What sets you apart from someone else? Do you have a proprietary name attached to your framework, your system? Like I have my SMART system. That's one of a kind. Nobody else has that. That's my trademark thing. Also, do you have different sub-frameworks within that are trademarks of your process that you could say, this is what I found works for my clients, and if you follow this process, I can pretty much predict what your rate of success will be. These are very important things to have. You don't want to be like every other Joe Schmo out there. You actually want to have a process that is unique to you, that is proprietary, and that is just sets you apart from everybody else. Business value metric number 7, and that would be cash flow. How do you get your cash flow? Are you net 30? Are you net 60? Are you net 90? Because the people you do business with, they don't pay you up front. It is very wise, as I learned once upon a time. I remember doing business for a development in Queens called Rochdale Village. I created a whole disaster emergency response plan for them, for the residents and for the corporation. I put all of this work in. I'd quoted them what the price was. They were supposed to pay me half up front and then half when I was done. $4,000. I got half. However, when it came time to get the rest, you know what? Actually, now that I remember, I didn't even get half. I did all of this stuff up front, expecting that when it was done, I would get paid. So when it came time to pay, the cheapo guy who owns Rochdale Village and another development up in the Bronx, a similar one, didn't want to pay me. He just decided, I'm going to do a Donald Trump and just not pay you. So what he finally ended up doing was paying me $2,000. And I got that. And I fought and I fought and I fought. And I never got the rest of it. A year later, one of the guys that I had cultivated a relationship with inside Rochdale Village's management office said, I'm leaving, but I want to make sure you get paid. So submit an invoice and I'll pay you. I got the rest of my money only because of that a year later. And he cut the check. I had a good relationship with him. So the lesson I learned from that was get your money up front. Don't do work and wait for people to pay you. That creates a really shaky cash flow situation, and you don't want to find yourself in that position. Also, have a broad customer base. Like I said before, you don't want everything just relying on one particular person. Make sure you have multiple streams for that big chunk of revenue that's coming in, so that if somebody decides to leave you or cheat you, it's not going to mean disaster. Metric number 8, key person dependence. Here's where you come into the picture. Nobody's going to buy your business if your business really amounts to you as a job. Because the question is, are people buying your product or service because of the product or service, or are they buying you? And if you were to leave, the customers would leave along with you. So you want to cultivate a situation where the reputation, the brand of the business carries itself and your name does not carry the business. That means setting up repeatable processes. It means setting up a team. It means having a capable bunch of smart people around you who can carry the business on should you sell it or should you even step away for a period of time. Metric number 9. Are your financials in order? Do you even know your financials? Just like so many Americans don't know how much they have in a bank or how much they even earn, business owners, by and large, don't know their key metrics. For instance, do they have their income statements? Do they have their cash flow statements? Do they have their P&L statements? Do they have their tax returns? And on and on and on ad infinitum. Are you a terror when it comes tax time and your CPA just even wants to avoid your call because you're going to hand them a shoebox full of receipts, or you're not even going to have anything documented? Like, what can he do with that? Any buyer that comes to buy your business is going to want to have readily accessible to him all of the documentation he needs to do his due diligence, so he knows that purchasing your business at X multiple is a good decision for him. If he can't decide that, you will not be able to sell your business. And even if you don't want to sell your business, not having those numbers at hand and knowing them says a lot about your ability to run a profitable and effective business. Key metric number 10. Do you have time freedom? Can you disappear from your business for 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days even? Like, take your boo and go on a trip around the world. Take that bucket list item vacation, or just step away to spend time with your kids over the summer. Are these things you can do? This is what a buyer is going to want to have. They don't want to, again, buy your job. They want to be able to buy a true business. And a true business means it can function without you being there. And there are systems, processes, things you have to set up in order to have a business that runs without you being there. That's good for the buyer, and that's good for you. So that's it. If you want to calculate your business value quotient, just do like a rough quickie on your own. Take each one of those 10 metrics that I gave you, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, and then come up with a number. If it's anything short of 81, you don't have a true business. If it's like at 61, somewhere around there, you're on your way. Good for you. But anything below that, you basically own a job. And if that job's not even bringing in money, now you have a liability on your hand and not an asset. So, if you feel that any of these metrics that I mentioned is an area of concern for you, please comment sold at the bottom, as in sold your business, yay for you. Comment sold, or DM me sold, and I will help you do a thorough assessment of your business value quotient, deliver that number to you, and help you understand what that means. All right, that's it for now. I am going to get back to this delicious meal and enjoy it. You enjoy the rest of your day, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you again soon.